Hi there, everybody. It's your host, David Lee, for Show Epic. Listen, one of the cool things about traveling around, and we do often to Comic-Cons and things along those lines, is the ability to meet artists. At every con that I've gone to, there's an artists row and individuals who've made it their life's work to bring their passion projects of art to life. Comic book artists, artists that will draw from other different nerd venues or fandoms. And man, they all have a different perspective to bring. I get to interview today Brittany Green, who is a Columbus native artist, and super excited to be able to sit down with you, Brittany, and talk about some of the amazing projects that you've been working on here in Columbus. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and some of the cool things that you're working on? Yeah,
well, David, I really appreciate you just sitting down and letting me be part of your show. I'm just so tickled and honored. I was excited all week. But yeah, I'm an independent comic artist. I have a couple of series I've started and plan on taking them a long way. And I love storytelling. I love rich characters with meaning and symbolism that can have impact to the readers, to the world, whatever it may be. You know, I'm very aware of how small I am, but I don't care. I love doing it, and it just makes me so happy. And if I get support, you know, along the way, that'd be fantastic, and I'll welcome it. Regardless, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, and I'm just so excited to share to the world my ideas, my hard work, because each time I make an issue, I heavily critique myself.
Yeah.
Like, how can I improve next time?
Yeah,
So
I've been looking through, and of course, you at home who are listening, you can't see them right now. We will put in the show notes links to take a look at some of the art and stuff like that. But I'm looking at these comic books. This is absolutely amazing. So now you've got a couple of different projects. Tell me about, I'm walking into the coffee cafe, and you are working on a project called DA Agents. Talk to me about that project.
Yeah, so this always has a special place in my heart because DA Agents is one of my very first comics. The first issue, so I started conceptualizing it in 2017. The first issue came out in 2019. And I was in college when I first started. I'm just like, man, you know, I don't have any clue how to start a comic, but I'm just gonna go for it. And that's like been my whole sub-career right now is I'm just gonna wing it and learn how to do that. Because I don't want my work, my art, my stories to fit in a particular standard or formula. I want to tell the stories that I want to tell.
Yeah.
And I want to express them in my own style, in my own way, you know.
For sure.
But in doing so, like, of course, I'm researching, of course, I'm studying all the other artists, other industries, other companies and stuff like that, what they're doing. And I'm interpreting and filtering how, you know, I need to for my work and my stories. But yeah, DA Agents. And like I said, I do all the work myself. I write the stories, create the concept art, ink, pencil, everything, color it. The only thing I don't do is print it, but I use domestic companies to do so. So
everything's done here in Columbus.
Not Columbus. So some of like the smaller books I'll do like with Columbus. Okay. But I try to like at least keep stuff within the States if I'm printing. But everything else I do myself. And it's very much a labor of love. And so where
did you get the idea for DE Agents?
Yeah.
Where did that start?
So, okay, I'm a sucker for some cool, sweet, cheesy 80s, 90s movies. Like, man, like...
Yes. Give me your favorite. What's your favorite?
Okay, like, I really love, like, Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes,
like, that was, you know,
yes, that's exactly the one that came in my head.
And I know this one's technically early 2000s, but The Matrix was super cool.
Yes.
Which the first one was 99. I actually really got into Ultraman all the way back in the 70s.
Oh, my gosh,
But, you know, just like people like Dolph Lundgren, you know, Keanu, boy, he's one of my favorites. Jean-Claude, you know. Yeah. These dudes are just sick. I said Keanu, but Sylvester Stallone, dude, the Rocky franchise is one of my favorites. Right. But anyway, so I'm watching all these, you know, sweet action movies, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're so cool. But I'm just like, but did you need to shoot that guy's head? Did you need to like decapitate him? Like, oh, I mean, that guy probably had a family, you know? And so I'm just like, are you really the good guy? You know, watching this dude's like slaughtering, like he's a butcher shop. I'm like, oh man, you know. So I watch these, like, I like the style, I like the characters are fun, but then I just like, I see all this stuff that doesn't need to be in there. That it kind of distracts from the storytelling.
Yeah.
And so for DE agents, I wanted a thought-provoking, and I don't want to sound hoity-toity or like, ooh, but,
no, but more of a cerebral approach.
Yes, exactly. But like when I say moral driven, I don't mean like I'm going to stand on my pedestal. No, I'm saying like each of the main three characters have their own view on morality and how they're dealing with this increasing crime presence that they're in the midst of.
Wow.
And so as the moral conflicts come, they're getting delved darker and darker and darker, and they're trying to fight either their past or from bringing up their past.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure out a good or decent way to deal with these increasingly questioning issues. And so I want to bring in this real world rawness, the drug and violence, like it's DE agents. So
right.
It's based off of the duties of real DEA, which ironically, like none of them are actual DEA, but I wanted to use it as like a, it's like
jumping off name point.
Yeah, exactly. That each of the main characters is like their first initial.
Oh, okay,
that's like
cool.
a little spoiler.
That's a spoiler.
Yeah, but there will be actual DEAs that have like qualms with them. They're like, can we trust these guys, sort of thing. Even though they work with like the detectives and law enforcement and stuff, they cooperate. But anyway, that's kind of where that inspiration came from. Is I wanted like an interesting, thought-provoking, like still really fun, moral-driven action. I'm sorry, my words are jumping all over the place.
No, it's okay.
Definitely 80s, 90s inspired, and just like a fun, cool story,
So it brings up thoughts in my mind. Obviously, dealing with law enforcement and such. Some of the big comics that automatically jump to my mind that deal with similar justice issues, but at the same time, how far do we go in our system of processing what justice is? And that Judge Dredd comes to mind and stuff like that. When increase of crime happens, there was a big to do over. Blue Beetle. Did you see the Blue Beetle movie?
I haven't yet.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing you didn't. But sorry for all my Blue Beetle fans out there. But in the middle of one of the guys made an offhanded comment. That Batman is a what did he say? Not a masochist, but a despot or something like that. And he was, he's kind of mentioning towards the idea that sometimes, when people take justice into their own hands, that it's a bit of a problem. You were talking about that specifically, and so having more of a conversation about that and the philosophy behind that and those kind of things. That's a really cool.
And that's
a really cool intro.
That's exactly what's like. That's the next issue.
That's
awesome.
Awesome.
Part of the next issue. Like the actual DEA are like, can we even trust these guys? Like, do we know their back? I'm like, hey, I trust one guy because he's a Marine veteran.
Yeah,
he has a reputation behind him as honorable, but the other two, I don't know.
Right.
They're like phantoms in their background, and that's for a reason. I'm not going to give away the story, but and there's going to be a lot of very obvious and subtle commentaries, whether on justice, morality, handling different situations, and I'm trying to be very tactful and very
of course.
tasteful about it. Like I said, the whole thing is about a action story that is tasteful and considerate, because without, not compromising,
Now, your art style is amazing. Talk to me about your process.
Thank you. It's really fun. So, I do traditional and digital, and they're the same technique essentially, but just different mediums. And it's kind of funny because my sketches are just straight up chicken scratch. Like it is the bare minimum that I can possibly put on the page, but in my mind, there's enough information for me to know exactly what I need to do, because that, to me, the detailing comes in with the inks, which I know, and I can rely on that because I know if you're working as a team, you got to have the detailed pencils. That way, the inker knows what to do. I can bypass that. I just get like a little scribble here. That's a person. That's this person. Anyway, and then I really love heavy textures with inks, expressing different forms of cross hatching and even like splatter effects. Just in the sense of a lot of breakages within the inks, ink weighting. I love that, like showing different widths and weight to the inks.
Very cool.
And with the colors, like I'm a sucker for cell shading and just making sure everything stays cohesive and formulated. Something about me is that though I'm very artistically minded is that each of my characters have a specific formula of design that's designated for them.
Yeah.
So that way I can keep myself in check that I don't have same face syndrome. That I don't make the same character 10 times because I'm really paranoid about that. Yeah. And so each character has a specific formula of design that is unique to them, that has different patterns, flows, structures, features, or shapes that are specific and dedicated to that character.
Nice.
And then usually that accents and complements their personality and what they represent, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So like take Einar, for example. He's extremely rough around the edges.
Yeah.
In his personality and his bluntness, he has no regard for safety. He'll just go out there like, oh, gunfight, sweet. And we just dive right in.
He's the Mel Gibson of the...
yeah, exactly.
the lethal weaponist.
He's got like shaggy hair. He's covered in scars showing his recklessness.
Right.
But he still has very angular, sharp features and edges from his angular and sharp type personality.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, he doesn't play around, nor does he really have a concern about it. So he's concerned about the repercussions. So he's a very fun character to play around with,
That is fantastic. That's amazing. Okay, so that's DE Agents. I love it. I love the art style. As I was coming in and I was watching, so much detail just in one panel, just catching all that detail. It's eye candy to be sure, and takes a really good. You see something different every time you look at it. It's fantastic. Okay, so talk to me about Power Players. What's this comic?
Okay.
Oh, wait, before we leave DE Agents, this is Volume 1.
Yes.
And so the trade paperback is out for Volume 1.
Yes.
What is the next issue?
So this is actually the first 3 books.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and this is a special edition. See
nice.
the sweet foil cover?
Oh, yeah, I love it.
I do need to get the separate issues reprinted. So the next issue will be like your standard comic, but this is just a special edition.
Okay.
But yeah, the art was super fun. I'm getting faster and faster making these bad boys because for a while it took a year and a half to get everything done.
Right.
But then this is a full length graphic novel that took a year and a half versus a single comic. And then this guy took only like 2.5 months. So I'm getting faster.
You're getting faster.
Yeah, that's the goal, to have good quality art in a reasonable time without compromising my style. So I've been training myself very proficiently, especially with the inks.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the cleanliness comes from the inks.
Right.
And then the colors will follow.
Well, you're a one-person unit because, putting that whole thing out.
Yeah.
Usually, with other comic books, they have a whole team that's putting all this stuff together.
Yeah.
And man, that's just amazing. So what issue are we on now on DE Agents?
So I start with issue 0, and then this is issue 0, 1, and 2, and so I'm working on issue 3 now. You saw some of the inks already.
Yeah.
And so I got the script pretty much roughed out and everything, so it's good to go.
Nice. I love it. Okay.
Yes.
So moving on to Power Players of Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah. So this is actually my latest book. And this is the last book of 2023. And this was super fun because I wanted to do a black and white book because I knew I'd be able to crank those out real nice and then practice inks.
Yeah.
So this is my first
that's fantastic.
official black and white book.
How do you feel about it?
I'm really happy. I'm pleased because I know the time constraint that I had, but I'm satisfied with the art. And the first one, just introducing the characters. So a little backstory on why I did this is because I've been training jiu-jitsu for about a year and a half, close to 2 years now.
Okay, plug your dojo.
Oh yeah, Gracie Baja, Columbus, off Coca-Cola Boulevard, Josh Bolin, the best, most epic professor. This man, I love this guy. I'm just so inspired there because the guys are just beyond them. It's a family there.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of big brother bad A's now. Like, these dudes are just wonderful, and I love them so much. I'm so thankful.
Now, we will talk more about jiu-jitsu
in
the after show. Yeah. No, you're good, because I have to tell you some of my own personal stories with jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
But we'll talk about that. And my son actually does jiu-jitsu, too.
That's why my arms are all taped up.
Yeah, I know. I was looking, I was like, well, she's working out hard at the gym. Okay, fantastic.
Yes.
So this one is full black and white, and how many issues? This is issue number 1.
This is just the first one.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, and this one's fun. It's going to be like more episodic. So like you can pick up any one issue and not have to worry about story. There's going to be like a basic story. It's going to be like a fun little show. But this first issue establishes the main roster, and I'm going to introduce more. Also, the guys from the gym will make cameos and kick everyone's butt. But this is cool, and I'm excited about this comic is because we have the first crossover character in my universe, which is none other but Einer.
Really? So Einer makes an appearance in both of them?
Yes, so Einer's first in D Agents, and I'm like, well, how would he spend his time? Well, he's probably going to be wrestling a bunch of folks to push up on his training.
For sure.
So Einer's one of the more tough cookies at this gym, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fantastic, man. That is so good. Okay, how can people interact to get your comics and order them and those kind of things? Where do they go?
So I'm working on a website right now.
Yeah.
Like right after this podcast, gonna go work on the website, and so we're gonna try to get that up within a couple of weeks.
Okay. What we'll do is this will probably air next Thursday.
Okay.
So hopefully have some kind of link that we'll put in the show notes to make sure that they are able to get in and purchase the comics and those kind of things. And fantastic.
Yep. So we're going to try to get that in ASAP. But I do have a YouTube that I post info about, my comics and just some of my artwork and, time lapses and stuff.
And the username.
Instagram and stuff.
The username for YouTube would be?
It's just my name, Brittany Green.
Brittany Green, okay.
But you can also say Britts Comics and stuff.
Britts Comics.
Yeah, and that Britts Comics is my Instagram too. And I'll keep everything up to date.
Fantastic. Yeah, we'll definitely put all these links in the show notes so that people can grab a hold of it.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, definitely. That is fantastic. Brittany, thank you so much for coming on and talking about these. Listen, if you guys want to jump over to the after show right now, Brittany and I are going to continue talking about some of her works. One that I'm actually really impressed with and that we're actually probably going to be investing in as Show Epic. Brittany, will we see you? I know that we've got some Comic-Cons coming up here in town. Will we see you at some of those cons?
Definitely the Columbus Comic Book and Toy Show. Dutch's show at the Coca-Cola Space Center.
Coca-Cola Space Center, yeah.
I'm one of his, biannual vendors. So you'll always catch me there. Yeah. I actually get to set up at Crunch too.
Oh, nice.
They have that once a month, and last Monday of the month you get to set up. So I'll be there. So if you want to buy my comics, you can. I know it's bad, but you can come get them directly from me.
I'm there.
And I try to set up at Bluebell as well, that local mercantile place. So that's another store you can visit, or Pat's Comic Book Shop. Okay. That's right behind the Goodwill. Fantastic. You can find some of my books there too. That's another store that you can find them in. Man, that's so good. Okay. All right. Well, then we'll look forward to seeing you at the comic book show at the Coca-Cola. Also, Crunch, reppin' Crunch. Crunch sponsor us. And then Bluebell and the last place, Pat's Comics, that you talked about. His love that it's all over Columbus. Love that the availability is there, and I'll be personally purchasing some books after the show today. Tornvale has made his appearance at Pat's Comic Shop. So, really? Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll talk about Tornvale. If you want to hear more about it, jump to the after show. You can find the after show in wherever you find this podcast. Follow the link back to the podcast show page, and you can jump in the after show. This is subscription's only $5 a month, and you get so much extra stuff with us at Show App. Brittany, thank you so much for keeping Columbus nerdy. Woo! Thank you so much, David. I really appreciate you, man. This is such a great conversation, and you can have me on anytime. I would love to be back. Here's the deal: we're going to be making the jump, and later on this year, we're going to be making the jump from audio to video and audio. That'd be cool. And so I'd love to have you back, and that people can see the fullness of what you're doing. And absolutely, that kind of thing, dude. And like I said, this has been fun. I would love to jump back on your show, dude. Fantastic. Hey everybody, this is David Lee, host of Show Epic. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this amazing podcast as we try to keep our fingers on the pulse of all things nerdy in Columbus, Georgia. Listen, if you subscribe now for our exclusive content, it's only $5, and you get access to some cool after shows and exclusive episodes that we're going to be releasing in the future. We would love to be able to call you part of the Show Epic family. Also, just want to mention that we will be
at the Georgia Comic Con coming up. You can look for us at a table called So Epic, and we'll be there. We would love to meet you, and we are always looking for new people to cover, new interviews to do here in the Columbus area of people who are helping to keep Columbus nerdy. You can find more about the power behind Show Epic at soepic.com, SOWEPIC.com, and exactly what we're all about. And we look forward to being able to continue to bring you great content and open your eyes to all of the cool, wonderful, whimsical, nerdy stuff that's going on here in Columbus. Thank you so much.